How did you find out your SO was cheating on you? My wife tried calling and didn't hang up once it went to voicemail. She accidentally left a 245 VM. The VM consisted of her and her BF talking shit about me and how much happier she was with him. At the time I was home with our kids and I thought she was 1,800 miles away to be with her dying father. 2 years later we are divorced and her father is still alive. Okay, look, I know you've been cheating on me. I haven't been cheating. It's okay. It's okay. I've been cheating on you too. The fuck? Been 12 years and it's still got me good. She sent me a picture of herself in the bath, then sent me a message afterwards saying oops, wrong person. I drove 2 hours to surprise him at college on a long weekend and straight up found him in bed with the girl he specifically told me not to worry about. Fuck you Ashley and your stupidly nice Latina ass. Edit. Thanks for the lovely inboxes. No, I'm not still with him. That relationship ended over a year ago. No, I don't have pictures of Ashley's ass. My first clue was when I walked into the house and saw her drug dealer jacking off in our kitchen while she watched T+. She needed a new phone, so I put it in my name since I was working. 2 hours after leaving the store and having lunch with me joking about how excited she was to get married, I found a photo reel full of pictures she had been exchanging with her ex whilst transferring her stuff to her new phone. I put 2 and 2 together and opened her text inbox and surprise. She had been texting him for months and fking him for a few weeks. Someone sent me a video footage of my ex with someone I did not need to worry about. Shit leaves you devastated. Her boyfriend got tired of being the other guy and he rudely told me everything I needed to know. She pulled out her phone to take a video at my son's birthday celebration and there was a text on the phone saying I love you too. Fuck Jess. Edit. For those asking, I knew the dude and was aware of it being his contact. I'm not telling the entire story here, but I knew. I counted the pictures. This was in 2000, before everyone had a camera on their phone, and you had to get your holiday snaps developed at the Walgreens photo lab. She brought home the pictures of her vacation to see her old high school friend in Vegas, but there was something missing. See, back in the day the rolls of film were made up of exposures of 12, 24, 36 pics, etc. Depending on the film you bought. I went through the photos, and it didn't add up. Literally, the 24 exposure roll only had 18 pics. Eventually I found the remaining photos, her and the new boyfriend looking happy. Left her Facebook logged in on my phone, and I woke up to a lot of messages from the guy. It was supposed to be a trip to see her family. This was 3 days ago. Edit. Thanks everyone for the kind wishes. I should clarify, this is my wife, and we've been married for less than a year. The upside is we have separate property, and nothing joined. I have taken this as a learning experience. It sucks, don't get me wrong, but I guess you could say I've grown up a lot from this. There was a quote another user showed me that really stuck out to me. Red flags look normal when you're wearing rose-colored glasses. There was a lot of sketchy things going on, and because of this, I was sure I had to leave for my own mental health, as well as because I can't trust her. But, to anyone else going through this, stay strong. It gets better. I'm in a new town with literally zero friends here, and I'm still finding a way to move on. One step, one day at a time. Feel free to message me, anyone, if you want to talk, not just about this but about anything. Life can feel very lonely, especially when people have chosen sides on this. Stay strong all, I believe in you. Edit. I'm slowly working through my inbox, because I really do want a chance to say hi to everyone that messaged me. So, also, thank you for messaging me. It really does make things seem less lonely, and I appreciate every one of you. My coworker told me he saw her being carried to her car at 4 AM by another coworker of mine. She left this part of the story out when she stumbled home drunk that night. Confronted her, she confessed they made out. Fast forward to present day and him still trying to recover from what she did to me. After this kiss she kept going with him, and eventually fucked him twice. She told me both times. I literally had to walk into my apartment one day to find her in bed with him. I quit my job, we all worked together, and we broke up finally. That was 3 months ago. I'm still fucked up. She was my best friend and all of a sudden set out to destroy me. My super genius ex-wife bitched about the cost of our joint cell phone bill. She told me I'm using it too much. I never used it except to call her phone, which was free. So I looked over the bill and found the number to the dude she was cheating with. iMessage linked to her computer. I was on her computer buying stuff off Amazon and she was sitting on the couch, feet from me, texting her ex. He was trying to get her to send him nudes and they were reminiscing about previous encounters. He was bragging about how he made her leg shake all the while I was watching the conversation in real time, right next to her. My adrenaline kicked in and I simply closed the computer and left the house without saying a word. This was over a year ago and I'm still fighting her for custody of our children. Her best friend called me and told me, so I did the only logical thing and fucked her too. Asked me to fix something on her iPad, emails with her for confirmations, to see her ex-boyfriend on the other side of the country popped up. Got a Facebook message from some lady telling me that my fiancé was a homewrecker. Apparently my ex was sleeping with this woman's husband and she was divorcing her husband because of it. Fortunately this happened the weekend before our wedding, so I dodged a bullet. She f***ing told me. I used to say I've never been cheated on. Now I say I've never been cheated on, to my knowledge. I walked into the living room to find her passed out drunk on the couch with her phone in her hand. On the screen was the other guy, shirtless and in bed, Skype. I told her to leave. She left 2 days later. Told me she was going to her mom's. She didn't go to her mom's. Funny part is, we had been together for 8 years. She never worked a day and I didn't mind. I had enough for both of us. My credit sucks, so all of our assets were in her name. I stopped paying for her car, her insurance and her f***ing house. Let's see that f***ing weenie you left me for, do that by selling ink cartridges. Bitch. She was f***ing another guy on a campsite that I happened to be on for research purposes. I saw the guy she told me not to worry about change his relationship status. Asked her about it and she became a nervous wreck and told me last week was quite f***ing something. Ultimately didn't find out until after the divorce, but a very close friend of hers confided to me. I still haven't mentioned anything to anyone, even her, just decided to finally move on. She tried to silence her phone when I called, but I guess she accepted it instead. I heard her binging a dude loudly over the phone. Just kept being a good boyfriend until she felt guilty and told me. I never suspected it. At least she had some conscience, because she could have had her cake and ate it too. Could have strung me along for years and I would have been none the wiser. I loved her. I thought she was the woman I could spend the rest of my life with. Took me 4 years of being single before I was able to trust anyone after that. I was so oblivious the last time that after it happened, I hugely overcompensated, questioning every odd plan made and etc. I'm kind of glad in a way that I waited 4 years because it taught me that being okay with being alone or single is incredibly valuable, and I've noticed more and more people since then that can't be alone. I used to be a guy that would let girls walk all over me just to keep peace, happy wife, happy lifestyle, but now, while I still compromise and give freely, I don't take bullshit from anyone because I'm not afraid to be by myself. Saw her being all flirty and mushy with the new guy at work. Whenever I would confront her about it, she would usually give me the "that's just how I am." Eventually got a sneak peek into her texts and saw her sending him sexts. This was about 4 months ago but still hurts as hell. At 21 I lived with my girlfriend when I first attended college. We lived with one of my best friends at the time, who was also a woman. Our college and work schedules didn't match up very well, so there was a lot of time where I had free time and she was at work, school and vice versa. She starts showing the typical signs. Irritable with me for no reason. Decreased sex drive. Never had money anymore. ECT. So one day I'm at home alone cause class got cancelled. It's been an especially stressful week. 2 weeks before finals Our apartment was just totally trashed and it bothered her, but no one had the time to do much about it. So I was ill surprise her and clean the place real good so we can all just relax after finals. Start doing laundry and notice a decent amount of my so's panties have these white stains on them. I instantly think the worst. Best friend comes home early too after I had already cleaned and freaked myself out the panties. Invisibly pretty torn up, so she asks me what's wrong. I tell her I think so is cheating on me cause look at all these white stains. It looks like She ruthlessly made fun of me because at that age I didn't realize female discharge was a regular thing. I thought that only happened when things were like wrong. I take her teasing without rebuttal because I was so relieved that I was wrong about the stains. I use this life lesson to ignore the rest of the signs, having convinced myself that I had convinced myself of her infidelity and that everything else was likely just in my head too. A month and some change later I pretty much catch her cheating with a dude I despise when we went out to the bars together. On the way home I freak out cause that it sucks. She proceeds to dump me cause she's been cheating on me for like the whole time we were in school. Kicked me out of the apartment we both lived in. Tried to sucker me into helping her with rent still because my name's still on the lease. To top it all off, her and my parents had an agreement. They had just retired and bought a new car, gave me their old one. So I had two cars technically. Their old car was much nicer than my current, so I took it. They were gonna sell it if not. So now instead they were gonna sell my old car. She expressed interest in it. The car was still worth 14-ish, which would be a very expensive gift to just give someone. My folks were well off, but far from rich. My amazing mother could see how much I absolutely adored this girl, so she said my so could drive the car the rest of the school year, and if we were still going strong by then she could just have it. We still had winter break and a whole semester left to go. It was 5 weeks after they had made that agreement that she dumped me. After I got all my asset moved out, my dad tasked me with retrieving my old car. So I went and took it. For all intents and purposes of the law it was still very much mine. So she called the cops on me, said I broke into the apartment for the keys, threatened her, and stole her my car. I had extra keys and literally did none of that. Didn't even go inside. Just got dropped off, hopped in my old car and took off. Actually wait, sorry, here's the real kicker. 2 months after that I asked for the internet modem back cause she cancelled the internet and I bought it in the first place. She gave me the runaround for a month. One night we went to a bar for a mutual friend's birthday, didn't know each other, were going to be there. I walk in, see her, and decide I'm just gonna ignore her all night for my friend's sake. Which goes fine for a few hours, right up until she gets white girl wasted and decided to go out to her car, get my modem, come back into the bar, and with a running start, chucked it at my head, which hits me square in the eye nose. Bloody nose. The whole bar comes to screeching halt. Like party scenes in movies, where the record skips and everyone is just staring at me. The bartender asks if I want her to call the cops. I told her nah, it's cool, I got what I came here for, drinks with my buddy, and I got my modem back. And then just kinda laughed it off. Yeah, no, the look on her face was priceless. Thanks for reading. If you got this far, edit, I'm just gonna throw this here, rather than reply to everyone saying I should've called the cops instead. Her actions were about control. She acted out to get me to react. You lose when you react. Women hate being ignored more than just about anything else. If you don't believe me, go PSS of your, so then ignore her texts, calls for a few hours. She'll be way more ticked about being ignored than whatever you did in the first place. Besides, I call the cops. And then what? Women get babied in the justice system and I really doubt anything world came about it. Even if it did, punishment comes and goes, and then you forget about it. But now every time she thinks of me, I guarantee this night pops into her head and she's reminded that she doesn't mean a goddamn thing to me all over again. I came home one day and my husband's work phone was going crazy. He had taken my son snowboarding, and they weren't going to be home for a while. I was trying to turn it off, and found dozens of messages between him and another woman. He met her while he was working in China. He'd even offered to move her to the US and have her take my place. I confronted him, and he swore he'd end it. Well, he ended it with her and moved on with a lady in Israel, where he was working. Found out about that one when I found photos of them on a trip to Egypt that he said he took alone. And I found out about the third girlfriend when I found naked pictures of her on his tablet and phone. Finally left after that. I knew he'd never change, and I don't think he ever truly loved me. Found them in bed together. Fairly typical, if such a thing exists. Thing that angers me the most is that I seriously had absolutely not the faintest idea, not even a smidgen of suspicion. And what angers me even more is how it changed me. The insecurity, the paranoia. He said he didn't have a Facebook account, but one day I saw that he had the app on his phone, so I searched him up, and a little stalking later found out, 1. His name wasn't Sam, that was the dog's name too. He had a wife, and the family vacation he had gone on a few months back was actually his F-king wedding. 3. I was definitely the side chick. The confrontation was unpleasant. We'd been together for almost 2 years, and looking back from where I'm now I realize he'd always been a manipulative, abusive DCK. But I didn't want to see it for what it was. I eventually left him, but some days I'm not sure I'm over him. That relationship broke me. After she left her laptop because she took the car. One day, I was bored. I used some app to decrypt Skype message history. For the last 6 months or so of our relationship, she made plans to move with her next boyfriend. Love words, pictures, projects, a 2-year-long flirt. Everything was there. What they'd done when they met for week-long work conference. She helped him choose their future apartment. She even moved to the other side of the earth, choosing a bad postdoctorate just to be with him. Lines after lines of betrayal, hours of reading material. My brother told me she asked to see his DCK, so he actually F-king showed her. Easiest breakup I ever experienced. Brother got a light beat down by our dad, which helped teenager at the time. Dated for 2 years until one day, out of the blue, she says she's not happy anymore and breaks up with me. It sucked, but I figured it was for the best if she wasn't happy. About a week after we had broken up, I saw her at the bar with some guy who she sheepishly admitted she was on a date with. Later that night I end up standing next to him ordering drinks. He apologized to me for the awkwardness. Yeah, it's just weird, since we've only been broken up for a few days and she's already dating. He pauses. A few days? She and I have been seeing each other for like 3 months now. We stared at each other for a second, and then my ex comes running up to pull him away from me. He shrugged her off and told her to go FCK herself, and then left the bar. That's how I found out my ex had been cheating on me for 3 months before apparently guilt took hold and she broke up with me. Update: I bumped into the other guy a few months later at a bar and we actually talked about it. It was weird hearing about it from his perspective. In his mind he had thought she was just really flaky, but after speaking to me it just all clicked for him. And we went through some of the times when he couldn't reach her because she was with me and vice versa. Not sure how I didn't pick up on it. Either way, I'm happily married now, and I think she had to move home and live with her mom.